Gojira is black, Jules Raider is white. Gojira is the name, Japanese name for a movie star. But it's a little trick question. The movie star is Godzilla. Read recently, Godzilla had been like, I couldn't tell you exactly, 35 different movies. Anyway, clever handle. And we have the Slav defense. Now, that's not normal right now. Black, let's see, and I remember this line, let's see. I think you often take first, and then what is it, white needs to play this to stop this. So, and it's one of these odd variations. I don't think it helps black. For one, white can just go into the exchange variation, and he's a tempo and a half ahead. I had a game like this just a little earlier by transposition. It went like this. Wait, let me put this here. No, no, not where I want. Let's see. Here we go. The other game went like this, and black spent a tempo here to stop this, and this is not necessary. Black should just play this, and if white, we don't know if white wants to do that. For one, we can, if we can force that knight to go back, or we could simply play rook c8 and stop this threat. So I don't think a3 helps. So I think white will do well if he takes this pawn. He doesn't. Now, I've often with my students, I make a sketch here. I'll do it for you. Okay, it's not a very good bird, but I'm going to draw a bird here. Okay, the head is up here on d8 and e8, black king and queen, and then we have the wings. Okay, so the rule of thumb is, the masters told us years ago, the best way to meet a wing attack is to strike in the center. So this also follows the pawn chain rule. Let's get rid of those arrows. You attack with your pawns in the direction the pawn chain points. Here the pawn chain's pointing this way, and white's pawn chain is pointing this way. So this is black's break. Not yet, but this is his, well, maybe he could do, no, he can't do it here. And this is white's break, okay? So, you know, just based on the opening so far, we've seen what both sides should do. The wrong thing for black to do would be to play b6. That's just going to create a weakness here. So let's see, it looks like he's striving for e5. And it would have been better to avoid the weakness, weakening the double pawns, and just take with the bishop. So black has done perfect out of the opening. Black will make this trade, and if white takes back, his d4 pawn is it could be a liability at some point. Plus he'll have the double pawns. So black is comfortably equalized. Now this kind of destroys everything that black had achieved. Let's just take this. White doesn't have time to grab this because of this, right? So here we're forcing him to take this way. Now let's take this diagonal from the white bishop. Okay. Now let's see. How's white going to continue here? You know, if he castles, he could be asking for trouble. But he's left with a permanent weakness here, and this pawn is a target. Black may maneuver eventually this bishop to f6 and one of these knights to e6, and that puts pressure on d4. So b5 allows white to take en passant and give black a bad c-pawn. Okay, well, let's see. You only have one chance to take en passant. Let's do it. What's black going to do? We don't know. Let's take with the queen. Okay, now what's white going to do? We don't know. He could attack the queen, take double pawns. Let's take it just for the fun of it. Okay, this pawn is still a little bit of a nuisance if black ever takes. White could take this, but you know, 2 sets of double pawns. Ugh. You know, I like black's position here. Anyway, now watch your rook on a1. He did. Now white abandons castling. He's just going to leave his king where it's at. Maybe park it on f1. Okay, so this weakness is fixed. Double pawns, isolate a pawn. In theory, white has 2 weaknesses and he's losing. Okay, tempo on the pawn. Protects. Now let's see, what's he trying to do here? Well, I guess he maybe wants to put the knight here. And if white takes, his queen comes in. Maybe if he's lucky, he can throw this in and get the other knight in afterward. You know, you have to like black here. So yeah, here's his idea. Well, did he have to do that now? I mean, maybe this pawn is loose. Let's see. What if we go here? Now this is coming. We can't oppose it with the knight. We can try this, but this is still coming. I don't know. This is loose. We might have to stop and do this first. Okay. But notice, you know, I talk about time. Notice the time here. I wasn't watching, but white's been using a lot of time. Where did his time go? Let me back this up. So applaud. You know, both sides get gold stars for using so much time. I mean, you know, this is the way to play. You know, now they may not play accurately. They're playing the best of their ability. You know, I mean, I can show better moves, and then, you know, Magnus Carlsen will come in and show me better moves. Okay, well, it's all relative. But he's not going to do this for you. I will. So there you go. He's going to charge you a few $1,000s. I won't. Okay, so let's go forward. So time pressure is part of chess, but I guess he traps the rook. See, a little slow sometimes. Oh, look, we have a mate threat.
Check.
And that's not mate.
Check.
But white has bagged a couple pawns out of this. So, and the black king looks to me to be in more trouble than the white king. So black has overplayed his hand here. His bishop is pinned because of queen d7 mate. His h pawn is under duress. Black can grab the h2 pawn, but that puts his queen out of play. You know, maybe there, if the queen goes out of play, maybe there's a sack down here, and you know, start menacing black on the dark square or light squares. We'll see what happens. Okay, chases the queen, pin.
Check.
Okay, so white's a pawn up. It doesn't have a rook anymore. Black has an outside pass pawn. Black c6 pawn is weak. It's still a fight, and they're both short of time. Anything can happen. Okay, trying to reposition. You know, we agreed the white king was safe. You know, this pawn maybe should start running. Maybe. He plays defense first. Now stop. the pawn could have gotten as far as here, but white's ready to do this, so maybe he couldn't have pushed it at all if you want to bring the queen back. Now he's trying to get the king to help out.
Check.
Okay, so now the black king looks safer. So how does white continue here? Well, let's see. What can we do with this bishop? We have a light squared bishop. I'd like to get it to, I want to attack this pawn, but I don't see a way to do it. I don't know if we can sacrifice it. We're going to have a whole lot of pawns. Maybe we can. Takes, knight takes, and well, there might be a fly in that ointment. Black starts getting checks. Let's see what he does. So we can look at that. Hey, we did it that way. Let's look at my way. My way was this way. Here come the checks. This. I don't know. Can he run?
Check.
No, he can't run. Let's run this way. Then we get to take the knight. Aha. Okay. So he went this way with the sack. Something I was talking about, trying to get this bishop in the game. Black is low on pawns now. So it's definitely a tricky position with both sides in time pressure. It's a fair fight here. Black's winning strategy is to trade queens and use the minor pieces to block the extra pawns. White's strategy is to keep black under check and hope for a tactical slip and avoid one of his own. And if white can win that d5 pawn, he's going to have 5 connected passed pawns. It's an exciting finish. So he starts that pawn to keep the queen out, but at the same time he weakens his own pawns. Now, I don't see a tactical win of this pawn, but maybe both sides are happy with the draw. There it goes. But he might be able to just take it. How much time did he spend on that? 14 minus 45. He spent 31 seconds. And white took it. So let's see, what does black have in mind?
Check.
And now this square is under duress. There's a mate threat there if the queen flees. So here he's trying to check here. So black needs to make some room for the king. But this pawn is also under duress.
Check.
And there it goes. Queen takes d5. Oh, he didn't do it. I guess he's afraid of this. Okay, that's a good reason. Okay. So, very, very, very tricky position. You have to think white is better here because black's king is under pressure, but white's pawns are kind of stymied. Maybe black can erect a blockade. Let's get this knight into play. We also have to watch out for this guy. Okay, that saves here. Maybe white should play bishop f3. And it goes that way. Let's see. What's wrong with bishop f3? See, if here,
check. Check.
My feeling is white's winning this. It shouldn't be hard to get the queens off, and even if they stay on, you can just start advancing pawns, and black's in a whole lot of trouble. Bishop can't stop 5 pawns. So after here, this is under fire. Now maybe we can run this guy. Maybe. I don't know. It's tricky. Let's check to defend this. We got to stop that. Let's see. Very, very tricky position. Now, this is exciting. No, wrong one. It's get back to the real game.
Check.
Let's just transposes. Oh, he doesn't want to take it. Okay. Now he wants to take it. Now black has this check threat. This one is out of the question. This knight is falling with check.
Check.
And now his objective is run the king. So check. We come up and we're going to run one way or the other.
Check. 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 Check.
So gotta avoid the checks.
Check.
There he avoided the checks. Suddenly black is getting time on his clock.
Check. Check.
Now he's out of checks again. One pawn down, 4 to go. Not easy though. Especially when white is close to maybe getting a checkmate of his own here.
Check.
Now we could put the bishop here and we're threatening a mate in 2.
Check. Check.
Now we're threatening a mate in 1. And there's the mate.
Checkmate.
Wow, nice game. Very, 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 very exciting. White was worse in this. Let's see. I guess dropping that G7 pawn proved to be too much for black to overcome. There maybe black has some checks in there that could have ended in a draw. I didn't see any. Required more attention. Let's see. So let's go back to move 17. 30, back 78. We'll get us close. That's 78 half moves. Kind of neat function here. Let me make the board a little bigger again. Okay, so he played here. What if let's just sit here for a minute. Let's come back and do my move. Now white's kind of stuck. Let's do this. I'm trying to transfer the knight over here, and maybe I'll just take one of those knights off. Heck with the bishop pair. Now let's defend that pawn. See, now I've erected a defense to knight f4. However, black is still looking pretty good here. One of the ideas I was talking about earlier is get a knight on e6 and this bishop on f6. So black to play. Let's see. We can't get to f4. We gotta maneuver. We have to play around. But here we're gonna go here, here, and here. And white's meanwhile he's just saddled with these weaknesses. And black can at some point maybe try to grab the A file. This rook isn't said to compete with the A file and double up. No, black is definitely better here and had the chances. Okay, I'm gonna stop this recording.